right. So on this episode, it's all about how can you scale and be extremely successful without losing your soul. Is that even possible? Can that be achieved? And if so, how do you achieve it and keep it and grow it? A lot of the work that I've done with business leaders, the guys that I coach, and the work that I do, I'm using it in my own practicing of running businesses and operating. So how do you continue to scale, give, generous, sophistication of your portfolio, expanding, meaning new products, new businesses, new initiatives, launching new things, taking new territory of new areas that you've never been before, and deploying the blessing more and distributing the blessing. So that's our goal. That's like what we want to continue to expand and become and do. Well, how do you do all that? Meaning, how do you go big? How do you go for scale? And how do you go for what the world calls success? How do you do all that without losing your soul? Well, I want to explain this visual to you, this one analogy that I believe will really, really help you over the course of years to come in your lifetime, and you just help you get better. Now watch. It's all about your integrity. And your integrity has very little to do with, I'm not talking about the integrity of what like people think of you, like how you're perceived or your reputation or, not that integrity. The kind of integrity that I'm talking about is like the basis of like a cement building or the foundations of a specific structure. Like it's integrous. It has integrity. It can withstand a massive load or a massive amount of impact. So watch this. Imagine a tree. You driving into a neighborhood and there's a brand new tree planted, and that tree has stakes on it, and that staked tree is there to grow. And they put those stakes to help guide it and to help grow it. Well, what's happening during that process? Well, it's establishing roots. This is called transformation. And as I said in previous posts, transformation cannot be microwaved. It can't be rushed. But let me tell you the blind spots of what most leaders do. They don't establish roots. One, they don't establish deep roots. They don't cultivate massively deep roots. So here's what happens. The winds of adversity come. Now, adversity for most of us, when we first start out, coming out of school, getting a life, getting a business, getting kids, getting responsibilities, it's kind of survival mode, and it's pretty simple. I need money, I need to pay my bills, and it's survival mode. That's pretty singular. It's like kind of one dimension of life. And so you have those winds blowing on that tree. Okay. Well, when that blows, if you don't have deep roots, you get uprooted. You come out really quick because you haven't established very deep roots at all. And that does happen for some people that are in their 20s and 30s. Okay. So in the very beginning stages of life, they get uprooted really, really easy. Well, the winds that I really, really want to talk about is not the winds of adversity, which feel very like that's really what life is just dealing with adversity. That's not really your problem that you're going to face. That's really not your issue that you're going to need to overcome. The real issue of what you're going to need to overcome is success. Here's why. When the winds of success start to blow the other direction and start hitting you as a tree, your integrity is really going to be revealed. Well, adversity is one way to reveal your integrity, how deep-rooted you are and how well you handle it. Well, success blows hard because success is multifaceted. Success comes in the form of not just multiple things, but what comes along with all those multiple things. For example, as life scales, as business scales, as you want to scale without losing your soul, you want to grow bigger. You want to scale. You want to build God's kingdom. You want to grow your business. You want to just continue to just ramp up and do millions and this, that, and like you just want to see all that expansion. Well, here's one interesting thing that takes place. Most leaders want to see, myself included back in the day, wanted to do amazing big things and wanted to see this expansion of my kingdom of what God's entrusted to me. And I love what Morgan Snyder says. He goes, listen, most are looking for the expansion of the kingdom without first building character. Well, another way of saying that of building character says, are you building deep roots, right? Establishing deep roots. Almost every mentor that I've ever talked with is really about focusing on establishing deep roots. So success, whereas adversity was just maybe a couple issues to deal with, success is about 20 things to deal with. But to me, that still isn't really the issue, just more. It's actually what comes along with each one of those things that you say yes to. So you've said yes to, I want to buy a house. Well, we're going to own a house. Well, you just added about another 10 spinning plates that come along with that house, the water bill, the electrical bill, maintenance on that place, keeping it up, keeping it cool, keep it like all of that. There's 20 spinning plates that come with that one yes of success. You want to grow your business to multiple different products, multiple staff members, employees, customers, databases, tech, initiatives, distribution, you name it. When we went into working with massive companies and brands, sophistication grew of success. Crazy. Question was, were the roots growing on the tree? All the winds of success was starting to blow. What happens to the roots? What happens to establishing deep roots to withstand and not be uprooted by success without losing your soul? Will you be shallow? Will you be deep? Can you withstand? Here it is. More and more opportunity comes. Expansion, 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 success, right? All these spinning plates are starting to happen. And now you've got the cognitive load right here. Everything you said yes to and committed to has spinning plates. And now those spinning plates become cognitive load. You can be sitting doing nothing and your cognitive load is completely running yourself crazy, where it's that world of complexities of all of that success that is bombarding you, and those wins are hardcore. So adversity hits. Then you have success that's constantly blowing. You got the storm that's happening. And the only way that tree is going to withstand and build integrity, the strength to withstand and to overcome and actually thrive and become a beautiful, robust tree that people can sit under that shade and people can eat of its fruit of your life well lived, is all determined by the depth and intention that you can have on establishing deep roots. Well, here's the brutal reality, and here's the check for you today. Here's what I learned. Take from my learnings. Boy, did I want extraordinary outcomes, and we've got them, but I actually would have approached it a little bit differently. Extraordinary outcomes requires extraordinary responsibility. Extraordinary responsibility, extraordinary discipline, extraordinary getting serious about the art of establishing deep roots. So it's the example of, I want to go out on the field and I want to play. I want to make as much stuff happen in life. But actually God is saying, I'm calling you off the field. Stand next to me. I'll call you in when appropriate. What am I supposed to do in the meantime? What do you want me to do between plays? Establish deep roots. Be prepared. Be the fireman. Dig deep and get prepared so that when the calls do come in, you're prepared. I forget the Navy SEALs quote, but it's something like, we prepare for success, but we train for interference or mistakes or failure or whatever. So essentially, it's a smart idea to establish deep roots by being in a position of being prepared. And I really have noticed that success versus adversity, yes, they will reveal truly a man's character, their integrity, but I've learned more from adversity and failures and overcoming than I have from success. Okay. Now, success comes with all of its complexities for sure. But once you know this is happening to you, and once you realize in order for you to have the upper hand in all things is by how deep of roots that you have and how you've established them. So then you probably are asking, how do you establish deep roots? How do you go really, really deep? For me, here's my protocols. I really love the fact that we all get to pick what goes in. That's cool. But we're putting ourselves in a position to be exposed to content that has nothing to do with what we need to actually do, but more importantly, who we need to be. There's a wonderful saying by Eugene Peterson that says this: prayer is about becoming and being before getting and doing. Prayer is about becoming and being before getting and doing. The big portion of my life in the hustle and the building and the grinding of growing and getting everything big was all about doing and getting. Transactional. Being and becoming is transformational. The thing about prayer and the thing about going deep with establishing deep roots as protocols in your daily life, it can't be microwaved. Transformation cannot be microwaved. Transformation takes time, steeping, deep. For me, my protocols, going out on a 5-mile walk daily, getting the word and the truth in, exposing myself to content that is used for the territory of where I'm operating in and through, and the people that I'm serving, the products I'm developing, and everything that I'm doing on the daily basis has everything to do with the content that I'm taking in. Content determines behaviors, choices, transferred routes into outcomes. In order for those outcomes, extraordinary outcomes that I want, I have to get extraordinary on the disciplines and the framework and the structure of being prepared in and out of season at all times, whether adversity or whether success, establishing deep integrity to do it. That cannot be microwaved. How do you do your protocols each and every single day to establish deep roots? It's by incrementally, faithfully, over a long period of time, throwing drops of investment on, you've heard this before, the future self. Are you making deposits each and every day on the future self of what it is you want? And the only way that you're going to do that is faithfully, incrementally, in small doses. So if I go on that 5-mile walk per day, getting steps in, getting the truth in, getting the right content in for my territory so that I can execute well, and listening to books that are going to help me sharpen the saw. Okay. And as I sharpen the saw, then I can actually go into implementation each and every day, establishing roots, rogue waves, adversity, success, all of it. You have established deep roots. Why? Because you're prepared. You're not a victim to life. You're not a victim. You have this entire approach to saying, oh no, I'm looking, I'm expecting, I'm aware, I'm awake, I'm sober-minded. And that's why I love that verse, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So that what? You're going to know God's perfect will. Like you got to do that oil change each and every day, incrementally, faithfully, consistently, over a long period of time. So when I start to look at the process of starting a lot of this back in my 20s, of starting to get regimen on saying, listen, I want to be transformed. I want to become and continue to become, because I know the outcomes that I want to be able to have. I cannot have a life that's about getting and doing. I have to retire that way and that approach, and I have to go into being and becoming. That's prayer, man. I love that Eugene Peterson quote. Prayer is becoming and being before getting and doing. Are you doing today? Are you doing today, or are you being today? That beautiful analogy of taking a mirror and say, being who God's called you to be, has said, I can take that mirror and it's like the sun. When the sun hits it and I point it at you, it'll blind you. That's what being God's child, God's king, who he's called you to be. That's what being is versus activity of doing. You might even be productive, but you might not be fruitful. You might not have anything to show that is eternal out of all of this effort and activity and busyness, striving, hurry, grinding, haste. I don't ever remember any part of God's or Lord's ministry with being in haste and hurry. So check your heart, check the pace of your soul, take inventory and ask yourself, am I trying to microwave transformation? Transformation cannot be microwaved. It can't be bought. It can't be hijacked. It can't be rushed. It cannot be shortcutted, my friends. It just can't. So take the time right now to realize it's not a quick process. It's a deep process. Typical transformation from a timeline, 3 years to get it in your blood system, 3 years to implementation to be able to get the results of what it is you've been learning. And those 6 years kind of blend together. The final 3 of I have the results and the outcomes that now I can actually teach it. So that frames expectations as to where you're at in the process of transformation, transforming your brand, transforming your business, transforming your spiritual life, transforming your parenting, transforming, like you just look at every square inch of your life and you start to look at where is it at in that transformation process of infancy to adolescence to full maturity. Take some inventory on that. So can you have transformation? Sure. Is transformation quick? Nope. Is it worth it? Yep. Is it hard? Totally. But yeah, make that deposit and investment on your future self today, and be reminded that it's it's vital to have deep roots. Otherwise, you're going to be a victim, or you're going to have the upper hand, and you're going to be able to look at adversity that's just hammering on you, success that's hammering on you. But as you navigate up and through success and grow, you have to have your roots go with you. It can't be where this expands and this just stays shallow. That's where you get uprooted. You can't handle the weight of the expansion, right? Everybody wants the expansion, but can they expand this kingdom first along with? So keep that becoming and being alongside your expansion as you continue to raise up and raise through these new opportunities of invitation. So if you want to be able to handle it, you better be able to build integrity. So hope that helps you today. Leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for being here, you guys. You guys are awesome. Have a great day.